What separates humans from animals is not just tactical gear and technology. What separates humans from animals is a greater sense of purpose, our ability to set goals, to have ideals, to believe in something greater than ourselves. Now, whether that's science, religion, philosophy, spirituality, whatever you want to call it, that's up to you and your group. But the defining factor in a long-term survival situation for determining which group is going to outlast another is going to be the shared belief system and ideals that that group possesses. Because without that, we're just selfish survivors. I will kindly ask, if you do enjoy the After the Collapse series and the various Apoca Talk stuff that I do, if you want me to do more of that stuff, you can cast your vote by liking, commenting, and sharing those videos. Survival is an animalistic trait. It's a primitive trait. In a sense, it's not necessarily inhuman, but the desire to survive is not what makes us human. The desire to survive is what makes life forms. Life forms is what makes beasts beasts. Animals animals. It's what makes bacteria want to reproduce. So if that's your only purpose, is to survive, and there is no purpose above and beyond that, as long as you're content with that notion that your reason for living doesn't go beyond any other animalistic trait there is out there. And the reason why I bring this up is because survival is inherently a selfish thing. I say that because self-preservation is the name of the game. Okay? For every individual cell in your body, for every eukaryotic, prokaryotic, bacteria, life form, the name of the game is self-preservation first and foremost. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're talking about group dynamics in a survival situation, then you need to know that if your only binding factor with your group is survival for its own sake, just remember that survival in itself is a primitive and inherently selfish thing. This is why human beings need some greater purpose to survive. And now, before all the atheists jump on the thing and start typing, anti-religious rhetoric and whatnot, and before the religious people get on and start fighting with them, understand that meaning could be anything. Your meaning, and I'm assuming there's no nihilist survivalists, because what would the point of that be? For anybody who doesn't know what a nihilist is, it's just somebody who doesn't believe that our lives really matter at all in the grand scheme of things. Maybe there's a deeper philosophy to it. Perhaps somebody will come on here and, pontificate about that. But by and large, as human beings, in order to have any sort of cohesive social unit, we need some greater binding factor. Now, whether that's philosophical, religious, whether it's an idea, that's up to you. Whether it's a constitution, whether it's a future goal of sorts, that's going to be up to you. But there has to be some greater purpose that extends beyond just our own desire to survive for survival's sake. Because that doesn't make us any different from the animals. Having the latest and greatest tactical gear is one thing, having all the skill sets and the training is another. But if you don't have a greater purpose, and this is where we're probably going to be in error in some way, shape, or form, but it has to be. It's the only thing that differentiates us from the base level needs gratification that defines all organisms on this planet that don't have prefrontal lobes, cerebral cortex, is that we have the foresight to dream. We have more the capability to think abstractly and to aspire to long-term goals. Perhaps your only binding factor with your group is going to be some appreciation for your existence. Perhaps it's going to be the desire to see the human race through to cosmological fruition, to have us traverse the cosmos and all that, to carry the fire, as the character in the McCormack novel The Road would say. To survive in its own right, it will get you through the initial phases, but what's going to set aside the thrivers from the purely survivors is going to be some idea. And it's important that I relate this to that idea about, an idea being greater than a standing army. You can kill people, but you can't kill an idea. And that's the whole point that I'm talking about here, is that armies in themselves, tactics, weapons, all the survival and skills training you have, in the long run, is not going to be enough. Because if you look at what's carried the human race to this point where we are in history today, is some level of greater purpose, some philosophy, something that's human. And so in a way, to survive for its own sake is inhuman. So tell me what you guys think about this. Like I say, this is going to be a primer for an upcoming video. Totally ad-lib, unscripted. But I really do think with this movement towards community in survival and preparedness, people are going to have to start considering the binding factors that go above and beyond the quantitative stats that we all bring to the table.